work for President Bola Tinubu and he will succeed. Anybody who is planning for him to fail, the person had already. If you do anyhow, you do anyhow. You do anyhow, you do anyhow. You do anyhow, you do anyhow.
You go collect woto.
Turn by turn. Different part of this country. In the southeast, the IPOB ESN is waging a full-scale war against the government of this country. And many local governments, many communities are deserted, schools are closed, hospitals are closed. In the same vein, in Niger, in Zamfara, in Plateau, in Kaduna, in Yobe, in Borno, we're only talking about Boko Haram. Boko Haram is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a full-scale war going on. And the blackmail of the Nigerian state by the Nigerian military is shameful. They said they do not have enough armament, and people listen to these false narratives. They are lying. They are liars. I repeat, they are liars, because I am a participant. I am a participant in this war. I fight on the side of the government of the Nigerian state, in Plateau, in Niger, in Anambra, in Imo, in Abia, and in Rivers State, and in Abuja. Today you are traveling to Kaduna on this road. It's not the army that made it possible to travel for you to travel to Abuja or travel to Kaduna, vice versa. It is my men, employed by the government of the Nigerian state, stationed in Niger. Today you go to Baga, you go to Chiroro, you go to Wase. We have lost so many men, and we do not use, in all this engagement, we don't even have 1% of the armament.
Helping to reduce crime in society, and you mentioned Dogo. Does it mean that you have your personal army that is operating, to deal with criminality? Do you have your personal army?
I don't have my personal army. Nigeria has been engaging mercenaries, foreign mercenaries from other countries, from Belarus, from South Africa, to fight insurgency. Maybe you are not aware. So why will Nigeria not engage in the same token locals who have the same wherewithal and are more effective and are more conversant with the environment? We are not the only one. Hunters Association, different people are engaged. Civilian JTF are engaged to confront this evil that has enveloped this country. I don't have a private army. I am assisting the government as a citizen, as a good citizen of this country, to save the lives. Since the time we went there, Kaduna Road had been free, no more kidnapping. We are saving lives. I don't have a private army, and the Constitution does not provide for a private army.
Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election held in Nigeria. And in this channel, we keep talking about that and the fallout from that election.
is still being felt in the country today. The video you watch is a clear sign that Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder, a situation where private armies led by ex-militant leader is openly and brazenly claiming to be working for the president for his support. We all know that Tinubu was declared the winner of the election, and we know that his election declaration was controversial, and that is why it is being challenged in court. But that notwithstanding, as the president of Nigeria for now, until the Supreme Court says otherwise, Tinubu has access of the arsenal of the Nigerian armed forces for his own protection and for whatever. But the president is watching, and Asari Dokubo and his private army are claiming to be working for him. It is a sign, it's an ominous sign of the steady decline of Nigeria and a clear decline to a failed state. What you are seeing unfolding in Nigeria right now, which the presidency of Nigeria had tolerated, are all telltale signs of a failed state. It's reminiscence of Somalia, where groups of warlords are occupying certain territories through different armies. And we know the fate of Somalia today. It is an unfortunate situation that Nigeria has descended so low that its failure status is becoming very obvious. And the symptom of that is what we've just seen, the creation of private armies like that being displayed by Asari Dokubo and his boys. They are not alone. There are also other private armies like the IPOP ESN, which is also seen as a private army doing their own thing, allegedly. There is also the bandits who are in northern Nigeria, made up of mostly headers who are terrorizing communities, driving them out of their homes, taking over their territories, renaming their villages. And the federal government seemed helpless right from the time of Muhammad Buhari as president. The situation continues. If you ask those living in Plateau State, Benue State, Nasarawa State, Taraba State, and what have you, who are those that sacked them, they will tell you they are mostly headers. These are militants, private armies, doing their own thing. And you notice that these headers, they move in convoys of motorcycles. They used to overwhelm communities. They come in hundreds of motorcycles. But when they are moving from one place to another, you hardly see the security dealing with them until after they have finished execution. That is an indication of a failed state. You also have the Niger Delta militants, obviously from the group from where this present private army of Asari Dokubo that is displaying to everybody to see emanated from. And we know what Niger Delta militants have been doing over the years. They may be quiet now because of the so-called amnesty program, but you can tell they can be reactivated anytime somebody wants to reactivate them. Now, what is happening all over the country, which is symptomatic of what Asari Dokubo has displayed, and this is being tolerated at the highest level, is that the state has failed in having control of the cohesive power of enforcement of law and order. This is so sad for a nation that is projected to be the hope of the black man in Africa and around the world. Now, you saw Asari Dokubo struggling to defend his private army issue when he was invited to the presidential villa by President Bola Tinubu. He said that he doesn't have private army. And at the same time, he was boasting how his private army had been able to do exploit on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. They claimed. They said that if Nigeria, he was saying that if Nigeria could hire mercenaries from Belarus, from South Africa, and elsewhere, why can't they hire people like him? We're going to look at the danger of empowering civilians, private people, to be in possession of firearms under the guise of working for the state. Because what they are saying is that the Nigerian army, the navy, and all the paramilitary organizations that we have in Nigeria have totally failed in securing the country, that they need assistance of private armies that are controlled by people like Asari Dokubo. Perhaps people don't know much about Asari Dokubo. Asari Dokubo was detained by Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, for militancy, for violence. And Obasanjo keep people like him away in detention, in prison, because he understands what they represent. It was only when Obasanjo left power that Yaradua, late President Yaradua, came on board and released people like Asari Dokubo and other militants, including even the Mossop leader, Wazurike. They were all kept away because a state cannot function when non-state actors began to empower themselves to the level to compete for coercive power of authority in any nation. That is what is now playing out. Leaders, elected leaders, are romancing with people like Asari Dokubo, and Asari Dokubo is claiming he now works for the state. He said that people like him, civilian JTF, hunters, and what have you, that they are now working for the state, fighting terrorists, bandits, what have you. You see how he was mentioning places they have led battle. He claimed it was because of his men that we have peace right now in Nigeria, that people can travel from Abuja to Kaduna, Kaduna to Abuja. In fact, that the peace in Abuja is thanks to himself and his boys. Did they do it with catapults? No, they must have done it with arms. You mean there are so many people armed, civilians who are not military officials, armed to fight bandits, terrorists, and what have you. And you know the danger that poses in any society, in any nation. It doesn't end well for any nation that allow the instrument of cohesion to be shared between non-state actors and the state. Asari Dokubo tries spiritedly to defend that he doesn't have a private army, but he does, because the way he was boasting of their exploit, of what they have done in Niger, what they did in KB, what they did was mentioning states where they have all gone to operate, including the southeast. Everywhere he was mentioning things. Perhaps one day in this country, there will be an investigation whether those things that Asari Dokubo and is boasting about that they did, whether they did it in line with international best practices. Because already the way he talks, it is doubtful if they observe any rule of engagement, whatsoever they were claimed to have been assigned by the government of Nigeria to do. Like Nigerian government claim have been recruiting or contracting warfare to foreign mercenaries. You can then understand why Asari Dokubo was brandishing AK-47 in one viral video, and several non-governmental organizations have written to government to prosecute him, and nothing was done. It shows you that he has the authority of the state to brandish those weapons, or that AK-47 that he allegedly displayed in that viral video. And people are wondering that people like Asari Dokubo can own AK-47, but the former central governor, suspended central bank governor, is being charged to court for possessing them gun. But it all boils down to what I'm saying in this video, that Nigeria is on the verge of total collapse as a state, because non-state actors are carving out territories for themselves. Already you know, unless you are not conversant with Nigeria, many communities in Nigeria, from the southeast to the southwest, to the northeast, to northwest, to the north, there are so many communities that can no longer access their farmlands. These farmlands have been encircled by non-state actors, violent non-state actors, as their own territory, that farmers don't dare go to those farms. That accounts for the food security challenge in Nigeria, because farmers can no longer farm without being killed in Nigeria. What is the reason? Because so many small authorities have been created in so many parts of the country who are challenging the authority of the state. and the state has failed to rein them in. Instead, they romance with them. You see governors of states taking pictures with bandit leaders. That is why you see terrorists have the guts in many parts of northern Nigeria, northeast, northwest, collecting taxes from people, from farmers, insisting that farmers have to pay them to be able to farm, and even farm for these non-state actors. What Nigeria needed and needs now is peace, but that peace cannot be gotten when non-state actors are rubbing shoulders with the state. You can see how, whatever you may think about it, how Asari Dokubo was talking down on the Nigerian military. If you listen to the full video of his visit to President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa, he was blaming them, accusing them of leaving their guns for the military, for the bandits, the terrorists, accusing them of deliberately not want to fight. Yet we know that many men and women of the Nigerian army have died in the hands of these terrorists. But he painted a picture of an army that is not ready to fight. And he was at the presidential villa and said all these things. Shortly after he said it, the service chiefs were removed. Whether it has any relationship to do with his presence there, it doesn't really matter. But those kind of allegations that he made, including his claim that he was the one that brought his boys that brought peace or brought safety along Abuja Kaduna Road, and not Nigerian military. These are the kind of things that ordinarily no civilian could make such a claim, and the military will keep quiet. But they kept quiet for whatever reason, and he keep on going on and on. Now, this viral video, he came back from Hajj and was psyching up his boys that they are working for Tinubu. Does Tinubu need any private army to work for him? I doubt it. Because already he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He doesn't need Asari Dokubo. What the president ought to have done is to warn Asari Dokubo to desist from such display of power as a non-state actor. But no, that kind of reigning in Asari Dokubo is not an issue to them. Perhaps they feel that Asari Dokubo and his army is serving a purpose for now, so they can tolerate him. But it's also a sign of Nigeria on the verge of becoming a failed state, because a lot of things are being tolerated because of politics, because of ethnicity, because of religion, and all whatnot. That ought not to be the issue for a state that want to function effectively in the 21st century. Nigeria cannot develop when violence is taking over the whole country. And violence that are not being controlled effectively by the state. And non-state actors are giving the impression that they are even performing better than the state actors in maintenance of law and order. Because what Asari Dokubo seemed to have been saying is that himself and his boys are better protectors of Nigerian people than the military. And nobody's saying anything about that. It is so sad. But let us situate it now why it is dangerous to allow non-state actors to be bearing arms in this country. Now, there was a report which showed that the proliferation of small arms and ammunition is driving the increasing rates of violence in Nigeria. This report was from SBM Intelligence, which carried out research on this. Now, it also showed, according to that report, that the number of small arms in circulation in Nigeria in the hands of civilian non-state actors is estimated at 6,145,000, while the armed forces and law enforcement agencies collectively account for 586,000 firearms. You can therefore see that the firearms in the hands of non-state actors is huge, bigger, larger than what you have with the state actors. You can therefore see why it is difficult for state actors to effectively police Nigeria, to effectively bring law and order. And you do not help the situation by romancing with these non-state actors if you're a serious nation that want to move forward. The report tagged small arms, mass atrocities, and migration in Nigeria, highlighted that arms proliferation has enabled the use of armed groups and also led to displacement of several Nigerians. Today in Nigeria, there are so many IDPs, internally displaced persons, from Nasarawa to Benue, Benue to Taraba, Taraba to Plateau, Plateau to Katsina, the state of the former head of state, former President Buhari, from Katsina to Kaduna, everywhere, internally displaced persons, scattered all over, driven from their communities, because non-state actors are allowed to be able to enforce their illegality on ordinary people and force them to leave their communities. That is not good for Nigeria. That is not good for a society that's going to make headway. What it symbolizes, and I keep saying, is that Nigeria is on the verge. It has met all the requirements of a failed state, but it can still be halted if the leaders will do the right thing. And one of the best things to do is for people like Asari Dokubo Tinubu, who remain the holders of power until the Supreme Court says otherwise, to ensure that non-state actors are not encouraged to think that they are better than the state actors, all because of politics. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. God bless you and yours.